We start with 1 hour chart. Okay, if you refer to my last video, we had a buy from here. From this correction, which was from here. And then when the price was here, I mentioned the only times you can buy this one become more corrective. But for me, I didn't get any trade setup from here. Okay. Now we're looking for this correction. We want to see how we can trade from this correction. And do we need, this is the only one, or we can expect more complex? Okay. Now, if we move to 15-minute chart, as I say for this one, the first one, just now I mentioned I didn't get any trade setup because there was no trade setup. The only thing is having trade above this, which I didn't take it. And now we want to trade, see how we can trade it. This, whether this is the one is going to break or still we are within this big correction for next move. Okay, in this case we move to lower time frame. All right. Even in my last video, I mentioned that when the price comes to this level, we need to see the breakout of this level. Okay, that's why any trade we get from here, as long as the price comes to this, we need to know. Okay, because we see how whether it can break or we get a bigger correction, or this is the correction we're getting to ready to break this one. Okay, now if we start with the daily chart, we want to see how we can trade it. Based on daily chart, we don't see anything, just this sharp. The only things based on daily chart, where is the next correction? If we want to buy, we should know about that. And as we can see, it's really close to this level, which we wants to break. Whether it can break easily or not. Okay. Anyway, based on the indicators, we see the divergence as well here, based on daily. But this is just information for us. We are not looking for the reversal. The only things we need to know that we have a correction here with this move. Are we going to get one more? Because as we can see, most of the chart giving the running flat for the continuation. This one cannot continue. We do the correction. Okay. Now that's why for the second correction we're looking for whether we get the here or not, because this is where the price have to break. Then after that we see how high it can go. And now if I move to forward chart, based on forward chart, nothing. Still we don't have any trade setup. This is the correction. We want to see how big this correction will be. We need to get the trade setup before we look for trade. Okay. And we don't have anything else here to talk about. We move to 1 hour chart. Okay, based on 1 hour chart, as I mentioned just now, if you want to get the trade, if this is the only correction, that's mean the price can continue from here. The only way to trade is have entry above this. Rather than that, we cannot get a really good trade setup unless we trade based on lower time frame. And if we're going to have entry above this, as long as we tag, we want the price break and continue. Why? How about if we become more complex? All right. If we see the tag is not moving, we take out the trade in 2 hours. It depends on the traders. Okay. And even if we get the trade, the price come to this level, we have to start to manage it. All right. Now, we want to know whether this is the only correction or we can get the more complex correction, because we want the price to break this one. As I mentioned, we are not sure how easy can break, just break and continue, or the price can hit and give a give a correction before continuation. That's why if we come here, we get more complex correction. Our prediction to break this one is, is better, is easier to break this line. Okay, we don't need to. I don't need to talk about that. In this case, I move to 15 minutes. Okay, as we can see, based on 15 minutes, as I said, if this is the only correction, then the only way we can trade based on 1 hour chart above the top, just now mentioned. And how about here? Can we get the trade from here? If based on 15 minutes, we get the flag here, anyone can take the flag. And as long as the price come to this level, they start to manage. They don't wait for this one. They get here. Oh, because even as I said, the price can be here, similar to one we have here, become more, all right, for one move down. Okay, No, we don't have any trade setup. The only thing is we need to wait and see how we can trade it. Because based on what we have here, most of the correction we have is just one simple correction. And is I mean this is going to be same of any of this, or we're going to get more complex correction before continuation. All right. No, we don't have any trade setup. The only thing is we have to wait for this to see how deep this one can go before we take the trade. Anyway, we don't have any trade setup, and for those traders, they want to having entry above this in case their price continue. They should know that if we consider this is the only correction, if the price tag, if it's not moving in 1 to 2 hours, they have to take out the trade. Okay, unless based on lower time frame, they see whether they can get any trade set up within this range or not. All right, but for me, I mentioned if we get more complex correction, I prefer to buy if we get more complex correction because we can get better trade setup that can confirm for the continuation. All right. Anyway, every time I mention we have to get a trade setup before we take the trade. We don't need to jump. We know most of the traders they say this is going to heaven or is this is a bull market, but we need to know where we have to buy. Okay. That's why every time I mention we have to take the trade setup before we take the buy, and we know where is the stop loss in case we are wrong and the price move for bigger correction or drop. Okay. Anyway, we just follow the market. If I see any trade setup that I can confirm for the trade, then I will share on YouTube. Thanks.